devoted to is really just the application situation. So this is, some of it will be in the system, but to be quite honest, what I found with a lot of clients is, as we're moving to a different system, we haven't really thought out how the application process looks in this new system, right? And so because we're in the beginning stages of rolling this out, you're about 3 weeks away from go live, this is a really great opportunity for us to kind of not only just look at how we process apps in the system, which not super difficult, and so again, lots of feedback from you guys is what I would like, but also to talk about for each of you, grad, online, international, undergrad, what this process looks like from the moment the student starts the app to when they become a full student, and what that looks like in Radius specifically, and then what that's going to look like as it goes to PeopleSoft, because of course that's when the rubber meets the road and students become real. Make sense? Awesome. Before we dive into an application, I want to give you a little background into how they're built. And you need to know how they're built because it's going to change how you navigate in the system. Remember yesterday I said where you click actually matters. Nothing, you will see that nowhere more prevalent than when you are reviewing applications, because it is made up of a lot of components. So remember yesterday when we were looking at a contact record, we pulled in that relayed information, right? And we saw their cases, we saw their event attendance, we saw maybe their applications, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, an application record is going to look like that. There are going to be lots of tabs depending on how your application is built. Things like the recommendations, right? So I want to be able to see all the recommendations and look at the statuses of when the recommenders actually submitted. The requirements, so their official test scores, their official transcripts, if I am requiring things like essays and personal statements, etc. I have to be able to find all of those. Have they paid us the application fee? That's a separate module. And so you're going to have a lot of stuff open when you're reviewing an application, and where you're going to look, of course, depends on the stuff you have available. Now, I'm going to click here on programs, and again, remember the programs tab has a lot of modules in here, so a little bit of background. When we think of an application, ideally we generally think of the application form. And in Radius, we know that the form is, of course, the vessel that collects all the information about the student. But that is not the only thing that matters. As a matter of fact, it's only a small portion of the actual application inside of Radius. What you guys really care about is what we call the iteration. Okay? The iteration is what actually makes up what the student sees. That is the program that they're applying for, the term that they're applying for, whether this, when it's time to take the application offline, when they can no longer submit the form, which form they're submitting, how much it costs, what are the requirements, how many recommendations, and from who. Are we going to be using the decision module for this specific application? If so, what are the decisions for undergrad, graduate, online, international? How much does it cost? Are there any discounts associated with them for being military or legacy students or coming and being, I saw McNair scholars. Those are things, right? What is that? What is that? Is that special?
McNair scholars is one of the TRIA programs.
Oh, yay, yeah. Right? So, you know, if I work here, do I get a discount on my application? All of that is in the iteration. Okay, so most of you are not going to be responsible for building that, and you can thank all of the stars that you're not responsible for it, but you still need to know where this information lives because it controls how the student interacts with the application form. Make sense so far? Yay. So I'm just going to show you what an iteration looks like and show you where not to click. Also, that programs up there is completely worthless. Never click that. It has really no information. So if I click on programs and iterations, this is your iterations module, and you'll see here that you have 129 already in here. And you'll see by program and term, this is how we're going to be accessing this. So each of your programs and terms, you know, depending on how you guys have arranged things, will potentially have its own iteration. And what that means is a student is actually applying to the iteration. That's what the application really is, the iteration for that student. And a student can have more than one because you have a lot to choose from. So if I am a graduate person, I want to try your MBA program and your anthropology, I can do that because they're two separate iterations, which means I have two separate applications out there, potentially at the same time. It also means year over year. As spring 17 turns to fall 17, spring 18, etc., you're going to have different iterations for that because things change. So now I'm going to also have a history. The student keeps reapplying and reapplying, or they go from grad to undergrad. I'm going to see all of those applications in this system under that student. You'll see each iteration has its own specific form URL. So that's going to be placed somewhere on your website, I imagine, usually maybe under the program page or under the department page. That right-ish, where the URLs are? Landing page. Even better. So that when they say, yes, I am interested in, is this a certificate for archives? I want to be a librarian, a special librarian, which is really cool. And I'm going to apply for this. They'll be able to go specifically to that, see the requirements, and fill out that application for this. I'm going to click in the anthropology one because that's the one I started filling out because that's my bachelor's. Okay, and so you're seeing here, again, all of the things that take place. So when, how much this costs, that's special for you guys, you know that stuff. Can they log into the self-service center? Here's that form URL. Are we creating invoices? How much it costs, if there are discounts available. Here are my decision statuses that are available for this particular program. These are the requirements. This is the special language that we're using. Is this required to submit the form, etc. And it's important to know these things because students are going to ask you these questions, right? What about this? Do I need to give you this? How do I do this? So you need to be familiar with where to potentially see this information or who to ask if you don't feel comfortable going in or you don't have access to this, so that you know when these things are created and how you're supposed to manage those expectations. You'll also see, again, I'm logged in as Becky, and she has her related information tab for this iteration to see all of the applications that fall under this specific iteration. Now, you're probably not going to be using this. You'll be creating your own special views because you'll be managing your own students, right? And your own students' applications, but it's important to know that you can get to this information a variety of ways in Radius. So I started an application. So I know some of you have, in your test contacts, have applications. Yay, nay? Who has an application? Not enough of you. Okay, even better.
You mean that started an application?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, last week, how many of you guys started applications?
Well, raise your hands, kids. Come on now. There's cornbread. You should be wide awake.
I couldn't get the link to send to me.
So much is happening in my neck. This is not going to work. I'm just going to hold on to it. How about that? It's your fault. It is all your fault. Okay, so I am in my contact record. Again, you can follow along in your contact record if your application is attached to it, or mine, doesn't really matter. Now, I started my application, and so some things started to come over with me starting it. When we filled out our inquiry form, we didn't have a whole lot going on there. I gave you my birthday, gave you my anticipated major, but you didn't have my social security number. That is encrypted. Let's see what else. Didn't have my most recently attended information. That came over from my application. Again, I just saved this while you guys were sitting down, so this is instantaneous. As they're starting, as they're filling out and saving this application form, it's coming over and it's filling in where it needs to go. Now, some of this information is going to live on your contact record, as you're seeing here. Some of it is not going to live on your contact record. It's going to actually live on the application. So we all should have our application tab up here. And so you'll see, here I am. I like things in a different order. Okay. And so you'll see, again, a number of hyperlinks in this mini view, which means where I click matters. So what happens when we click on the contact's name? Where does that take us? Contact record, exactly. If you click on the program name, where do you think that takes me? The program, which is completely worthless. Don't ever click it. Iteration name, if I click that, where is that going to take me? To the iteration record, that one I just showed you where the build is. So that's not really what I want to see when I'm looking at a student's application, right? So whenever you want to look at a student's actual application record, you have to click on their application's status. I repeat, click on the app status to go into that student's app record. If you click on the name, you're not going to get there. So we know we're in the application because the dark gray bar at the top of the screen will give the application status as well as the student's name. All right? And it has a little icon that looks like a sheet of paper with the green thing at the bottom. That's applications. There's also a module specifically for applications, student applications, and it's called Applications. Yay, team. By the way, you renamed that. There will be some areas in the system that won't say applications. They will say registrations. They're the same thing, even though logically that doesn't make sense. So don't freak out when you see it. Now, if this is your first time here, I want you to add in some related information tabs. Pretty much what you're seeing up on my screen. So remember, related information in the top right-hand corner. Again, smaller than what we saw on the contact record because not as much is related to the application as is to the contact. So let's go ahead and add in submitted application form. Let's add in requirements, recommendations, decisions, and I want you to hover over requirements and add that attachment. Not the first attachments you see, but this attachments. They are different.
Will you say that list one more time?
Submitted app form, requirements,
I swear I'm missing something.
Yeah, like when we go to our applications, there's nothing under the applications tab.
Yeah.
why?
I even went to yours and it's not showing it.
It says no data, it's just blank.
I can see the application.
How many of you cannot
You
see?
can see all the contact information and education, but
But yeah, when you click on application, there's nothing to view under your name.
Probably has to do with your settings.
I can see it.
You can't see it?
I can.
It's because you're under the contact record. You need to go to my application. Click on. Oh my Jesus. Is this me? No, that's not me. That's not even me. Sorry, that's my. It's not me.
Well, you have a couple in there.
I have Savage Brandy, and I have Savage Brandy delete. You want Brandy Savage delete? Sorry, I created a faux situation. Freaked you out.
You gotta click on the Brandy Savage.
Brandy Savage delete. Brandy's my first name. Savage delete is the last name.
That's the one.
Oh yeah, here it is.
Yeah. Now applications.
So you search your
And remember, this is your first time there, so and there we are. And status. All right. Did we find me? Who didn't find me? Raise your hand. I faked you out a little bit because I created a Savage Brandy delete, and that's my recommender. So a little conversation. Yeah, they're all me. So just pick one of them. Yeah. This is so difficult. Can you hear me still? Okay. You're fine. You're fine.
It was just the name was
Remember, you can go to the navigation and just go back to my record if you, well, it ever decides to open. Oh, well, maybe you don't have it. That's okay. Go. You're fine. You're fine. Stay here. Stay there. Click there and click on that two right there, and then click on my application status when it comes up. Dang it! No. Why? Okay. No. Oh my gosh. Why is there's so much is happening? There it is. Okay. Now the applications are coming up. Okay. So click on my application status. Yeah. Multiple ways to get there, right? I know you're good. So all right, everybody look up at the top. If you go up to the very top search bar, if you haven't found me, type in Brandy Savage. I should be the only Brandy Savage, huh? I have not all, they're not duplicates. They look like duplicates, but they're not. They're faux, no, they're not. If you, depends on how many columns you have in there and what you're looking at, it looks like duplicates, but it's really not. So, here I am. If you, Brandy Savage at the top, click on my name. This will take you into that record. If my birthday, it is not on that record, you are not in that correct contact. If you go to applications and that's your first time going there, your preview button may be up. It may look like this, which means you can't see it. Then you need to minimize the preview.
So when you go to contacts and then find the name, is it supposed to show up under the application status?
It should.
I think that's what's blowing our minds because it wasn't showing, or it's not showing up.
Is your preview up here?
I was gonna say, let me check that real quick.
And are you looking at the correct one? Because there's Savage Brandy Delete and there's Brandy Savage Delete.
Well, we were trying to find out that we created.
Oh, well then I don't know which ones. I don't know what applications you created it under. I mean, contacts you created under, which. So you don't have it. Did you do it under another name?
If you don't do it in time,
You don't.
Applications and then see which ones you have in here.
Right, I can pull it up that way.
Or you got those on your name that you have in there.
Or you could just click on the status.
Slide, show, and I go to applications. It shows up. You get the name that you have it.
Yeah. You weren't even landing. Brett, did you have one or use it? You're like, yeah. Okie dokie. So again, anywhere you see that application status, so any type of view that has it, you can of course click on the status to go there. I'm just taking you in through the contact record just so you can see the flow of information. But again, this is a tree, so you can jump on all these branches from a number of places. So when you're inside of your application record, now I have not submitted my app. I know this because my checkbox that says app submitted and my submitted date are both blank. This is not a submitted app, it's an app in progress. Of course, it says that on my application status. Boom, automatically assigned. You'll see you guys are using app reviews, so you have some app review stuff here that's not obviously populated. My requirement status is 0. I have not submitted anything. No requirements, nothing. What you want, boy? Just joking.
I just want to say the difference between that grad school is a little different than undergrad. So just when she says outwardly, that's a grad school thing. Recommendations is a grad school thing. So you don't be confused between the two.
So, Brian, for undergrad, what are you guys using? Because I know you're not quite finished with it.
We're not using that review. We just
Right. So do you have requirements? So they have to submit like the
They do have
transcripts and stuff?
requirements, yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, I'm showing you complete functionality for your undergrad folks. So the more you know, it's not going to hurt you. Just know that you're probably going to have to do a little bit less to process your apps than grad, which is not a problem at all. Again, this is just a page layout, so everything you see here, you can add to. Again, the administrators can if you feel like we need to adjust anything. Totally possible, not a big deal. You'll see things that are graduate school specific. I imagine undergrad may have some undergrad specific stuff that's going to be in here. It's going to change, so be prepared for that. Now, if I go to submitted app form for me, I don't have anything because that doesn't show up until the student actually submits their form, and you'll see what that looks like here in a moment. Now, I have saved, and so for my application for this specific anthropology master's program, these are the requirements. So you see I have to upload a statement of purpose. You'll need to get my official GRE scores. You accept unofficial transcripts from both of the institutions that I put there. So my undergrad, Transylvania University, that's real, I went there. And University of Phoenix for my master's program. So again, and I get to upload a resume. So I haven't done any of this yet in my system as a student. So I want to show you both what it looks like when you guys manually change these things versus what happens when a student updates them and how that's automatic on both ends. It lets everybody know what's happening. I had you add in requirement attachments, and you'll notice as I hover over that attachments tab, a little menu comes down. It says requirement attachments. These attachments are different. Now, I haven't really talked a lot about the attachments because I know you guys use what, iDocs, eDocs, Doc Now, Image Up. There we go. You knew where I was going. I was just watching me struggle. Thanks a lot. So for some of you, Image Now is going to be the only place that you're looking. And who's that? Is that grad? Is that undergrad? Undergrad is specifically for Image Now. Grad and international. Is it grad international?
We'll be using Radius.
Gotcha. Okay. So, right? Holla. Okay. So again, the more you know, the better it is, but you probably won't be using all of that. Again, recommendations for graduate. That's where that Savage Brandy Delete came in because I put in as a student my recommenders. So you're going to be able to track and see when they're coming in, and the student will as well. And then decision. So once we review the application, we're like yay or nay, we'll be able to put that decision in. So I'm going to show you again that whole process, and then we're going to talk about the views that we're going to need to find all of these pieces. So I'm going to go back to my student's contact record just to show you a trick I think that you guys have. And so if you filled out an application, if any student has started an application, if you go to their contact record and you go to the tool settings, yesterday this wasn't there because I hadn't started an application, but today you'll see I can log into that self-service center as the student. So this is a really quick way if you're testing apps, you don't want to feel like logging in over and over again, or if a student is calling you and is like, I don't know what's going on, you can go back in. What's going on? Sad face, why?
We want that though.
I want you to have it.
Change the password.
Well, that's a back end, that's a permissions thing. So you just watch.
We'll be burning that up.
Well, you can just watch me because you don't need to be in my application anyway. And so this is what it looks like when a student first logs into the self-service center. You guys have put in your branding, your text here. You're like, yay, Teams. Okay. Yeah, fair, okay. Student has the ability to update their profile. You guys get to set that. This is where they're going to go see those contact preferences. So remember yesterday we were talking about all the things that they can and can't opt out of. They're going to be able to do that here once they start an application. If not, they'll just be able to click the link and it'll take them directly to this page. And then up here at the top, you'll see applications. So this is what the student's going to see. Hey, I started an application for the grad school. That's the program name. Here is the iteration information, my status, and the last time I saved it. Now, because I haven't submitted it, I can continue. Once a student submits their application, they cannot edit it unless we go in and manually unsubmit, which allows them to go back in. Do we have a policy on unsubmitting apps for students?
We do not, we have not discussed it.
Okay, you may want to. I don't know if that's something students call you about now, like, oh, I messed up my life. And then they're like, I can't go back and change this very important piece of information. You may want to know where you can do that.
Like if they mark felon, but didn't mean to.
Even if they mark it accidentally, we still have to process it.
Yeah, that's usually, I was going to say, that's usually the process. There you have to go through it and say, I lied.
Yeah.
I'm real stand-up lady or man. So there you go. Okay, so I'm going to continue again just to, oh my God. There we go. So again, this is the application for anthropology. when a student first comes into the app and they have a contact record, it's actually going to feed in the information from their contact record. So what you didn't see was a lot of this part was already filled out. It had my name, so I'm like, yay, I don't have to retype that stuff in. So data integrity is going to come from the contact record into the app if we already have a contact piece on file. If this is a brand spanking new student, obviously they're going to have nothing, but as soon as they create their login for the self-service center, it will create a contact in the system. Yay, team. I got as far as recommendations, where I'm allowed to resend. Am I waiving access? No, I want to see everything.
Just to say, with the policy of the grad school, it's a pain to have to come see it anyway, so hopefully they just waive it.
I mean, I'm probably not going to see it, but I want the
physically
option.
Come in there, and you can't take it with you, you have to do it from there, so people should just waive it.
Wave it, wave it. Okay. All right. And so again, this is going to change with this is again just a form. What am I? I have never. Should I be a felon? No, that was I've never been dismissed. I am a felon.
Well, you just currently have felony charges pending.
I'm felon light. How about that? All right, next. All right, continuing. So this is where, for graduate, I'm attaching these unofficial transcripts. I don't have any documents here, but I'm going to make one real quick like. Can I? Can I do it? Do you have it? This is the fun stuff, right? Fake stuff. All right. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm attaching, this is my statement of purpose, fake stuff. So again, student is in there, they're like, hey, there's my fake stuff, where's it at? Fake doc. And I'll say, this is my statement of purpose. They don't have to put anything there, they can even misspell it like I did. Lovely. There it is. I can remove it. If I don't need it anymore, I can attach my resume. I'm probably going to do that too with the same document. Boom, boom, boom. Next, I'm not going to give you any of my money. Do you only, is this linked to your?
If you hit submit, yeah. If you hit submit.
Okay. Yay, I've submitted it. Redirect me where I can pay. I'm not going to do that, so yay. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So now, if I go back into Radius and I refresh, go back into my app, you'll see more information and some things have changed. My requirement status is now 40% because I have submitted items. So as a student is submitting what they can submit, that green bar is automatically going to go. This is a super helpful item to have in your views as you're waiting for processing because it lets you know where they are in this field, or this process. And especially when you're talking to them and you're like, hey, Brandy, what's going on? You're like, oh, do you have all my stuff? We're still missing a couple of things, but you still have time to submit. No big deal. Always good stuff. Now, because I've submitted the form, my submitted application form tab now is populated, so I can see everything that they have submitted in there, which is nice. My requirements have automatically updated where before all of these were not received. Now my statement of purpose and my resume have been received, but I'm still waiting on test scores and transcripts from the student. If I go over to my requirement attachments, there are the attachments that I attached for the resume and my statement of purpose, that if I wanted to, I click on the file name and download that, check it out, fake stuff. And for graduate, these are the recommendations that are available. So, are you guys you are using a recommender form. So I'm actually going to, show you what that looks like. What am I doing? Google. So here we are. Got an email. That's to my Savage Brandy Delete. Nope. This is what the recommender is saying, like, hey, I'm getting this. And you'll notice that this is actually coming from the contact. So this isn't coming from us. You've opted to have it come from the student. So when the recommender gets it for, again, grad, it's going to look like it's coming from the student. So like, oh, yeah, hey, girl, I'm going to fill out this recommendation for you. And again, another form. Oh, you got the dome on there. It's so nice and slightly pixelated. Something is amiss. Because I think I used the same. What? No. Oh, no. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it does that. If you're signed in,
Ah!
if you're signed in as a user, because they have to create an account, it'll leave you signed in.
Yeah. That's okay. We'll just take it to another browser.
It's not going to happen. It shouldn't happen to a student.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
It shouldn't be happening to me now. Dun, dun, dun.
She does have to create an account. So there's no way around having a recommender having to create an account to the portal.
I've actually never seen a recommender have to create an account to the portal.
That's the way it's working.
When you guys test this is what they have to do?
They have to create an account. I haven't seen it do this particular thing.
Can we write a note about that for me to check once?
So technically, that should not be the case. They should.
I've never seen that happen. It should just take you to the form.
That would be awesome. But no, it's always taken us to the page, and they've had to create an account. Well, I don't know that. I mean, I can pretty much guarantee most recommenders aren't going to do it immediately. So.
No. Yeah, make a note of that. We'll check that out because I have not seen that happen before. So obviously I'm not going to do that. Womp. Womp. Done with that. Okay, so of course as their recommenders are putting it in, we'll do that, but I'm going to show you how to manually add these things and change them on your end. So if a recommender sends a paper thing, or you get transcripts in the mail, you still want to make sure we can record those so the student is aware.
Can you show us how we can see status right there under requirements?
Oh yeah. So again, this is just your add and remove columns. So again, you control what pieces of information you're seeing on any of these views. So this is, again, the requirements module, so I could pull in and take out really anything I want. No problem. Thanks for asking. Okay, so the quickest way, honestly, is to kind of do this kind of mass updating if you have that option, because you're not really recording any of the attachments here. Again, for most of you, you're going to be using image now, so you just need to document that it's happened. So I'm going to take these two, go to Actions, Mass Update, choose the status, and mark these as received. And we're done, because that's really all you need to do. You could come in to the actual record. So if I click on action here and edit, so this is for my Transylvania one, so you can see what that information looks like. Everything that's required is filled out. There is some additional information you'll see that you've added for your transcripts that you'll probably need to fill out in that case. So this is maybe official, 38, 32, 34, I don't know. Yay. I don't know. I'm really just, Career, graduate. I'm not filling out all this stuff. You know what this stuff means, right? That was my GPA. Womp womp. Okay, the received on time will automatically populate to today once we hit save. Confirmed is not necessary. It's just kind of another checkpoint for you guys if you need to make sure, like a double check of who actually, we really do have this, like making sure it's documented in image now. Not necessary at all if you just go ahead and save. Oh, I didn't even change the status, did I? I got excited. There we go. Status to received. You also have these items. So can someone run through what the difference is between some of these, like incomplete versus not received, desired?
I don't know where desired or under review came from. Are those out of the box?
Desired is not out of the box. Out of the box, you get received, not received, incomplete, and waived. So
That status is shared with our recommendations, right?
yes.
I think if we add it under review, if they submit something and you don't know if it's
Real.
right.
Okay.
Maybe like auto status, I think.
Is that specifically for undergrad?
I don't, we're probably not using
Would
it.
undergrad be the people who would use that under review?
It's very early on, so.
Well, Brian, on the felon, we asked for them to submit something, and so it's under review. We didn't want to say that it's complete or whatever, so I'm thinking that's why we put that.
That's
in.
specific for that one? Okay, that makes sense. Just as long as everybody knows what
When
to
it goes
use.
to committee.
Yeah. And desired, I guess would be for that one too, like you need to submit.
No clue on that.
Desired is, it's in PeopleSoft in the education panel, it's a default for transfer status.
But we may not use it with the way we have it now, so.
I'll say, it's not something we're sorry.
Well, it's just a value. If you don't want it there, you guys can easily get rid of it. But it's there. So I'm going to say this is received. Hey, yay. So it's marked as received. I'm going to go back to the application. Just going to click here on the, and so you'll see now my requirement status is now 100 because we've received all of them, which has updated my status to app complete, ready for review. So that only applies to your requirements. It has nothing to do with the recommendations that have been received because obviously the student hasn't done anything. Katie, your face looks concerned.
No,
Just watching. Okay, just making sure.
and it is different, Katie. This is for grad, so it's gonna be different for you.
Right. Yeah, okay, just want to make sure. Now, to mark your, again, ideally, they're going to be filling out the form electronically, so you're not going to have to, grad, worry about this. Undergrad, obviously, this is not you at all. So I'm just going to mass update these as well. Lovely. Okay. So you'll see again, I'm submitted, my submitted date. Pretty easy stuff. So once I have everything that I need, I may want to review the entire application packet a la one. You'll notice up here at the top, you have an opportunity to print the registration. So if you're a person who likes a PDF version of all this, so you can go through and see everything in one fell swoop without having to kind of go through individually and click on each item to check it out, you have that option there. And you can do this in bulk as well if you have a view that has all of your apps that are ready for review. For those of you who are not using app review, you can do this to a bunch of students and it creates a large PDF with all those items. So you'll see you can actually choose which ones you want. So I don't want any of a lot of stuff. We don't have any of these things. Yeah, I want that. Dates, nope, 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 nope. So pretty basic. This shouldn't take long. I was right. Here's my PDF version of my application file for this student. And then here we go again. Here's that form, so I can go through, make sure everything is everything. Boom, boom, boom. Scroll, scroll, scroll. This is my attachment, remember? Fake stuff for my resume and my personal statement, and that's all I have. Now, I'm going to take it back to the student for 1 second because I want you to see what happens when we start updating these items. You'll notice now the student can no longer continue. The status has automatically updated. And when the student clicks on summary, they're going to see all the requirements. And so if they didn't, when they submitted the app, if they didn't upload, under actions, they would have the ability to upload that item. They would be able to track and see the status of the recommenders. And since these are all received, we're fine. But they could also resend the invitation from themselves to their recommender. They can't add any recommenders once this has been submitted. If they do want to do that, they would have to contact us and we would have to create one on their behalf. Otherwise,
Could you open up the portal to them at that time?
it won't. It's based on the iteration. Once they do the 3, they can't do anything else. And they'll also be able to make their payment for their app fee here. And they'll also be able to print their own application, so they have that there.
Can the application be reviewed even though that you hadn't made the payment?
Oh yeah, technically you guys, as long as it's been submitted, you can see all that information.
That's not going to be
But
something
you
to
don't
trip
do that.
trip
But you
people.
would not be doing that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all
Don't
usually,
waste-
it's
don't
policy.
waste That labor that,
We're going to get out of.
yeah, you're not gonna do that. I can
So
promise you that.
let's talk about that app processing before we start talking about decision. So undergrad. Undergrad? Undergrad. So what is that process looking like? So the student starts the application. Do we care that a student started the application as a counselor? Yes. What is our, what's,
Not as a processing center, we don't care if they started.
right, but counselors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So what are you doing when you see that a student has started an application?
Have you turned in all your documents yet?
Well, at this point they just started, so they haven't even submitted the form.
As I said,
Encourage them to turn in their transcripts.
I would hope that when it's an automated email, it says, thank you for applying.
You do.
Congratulations on applying.
You do. All those things happen. What else? Well, what are you doing? Because we know that's coming from either the form submission or the comp plan. So what's your job in this?
They don't have, the way that, they don't have the functionality right now in EMIS to see that an app
It's just started.
has started. I mean, like, we're waiting on the bridge to run and other stuff to happen, and then a comp plan will kick in. There is some variable data that will make some communications look like they come from the recruiter, but that's pretty much the extent of it.
So now that you have that functionality, what would you like to do?
Help them finish it. Help them finish it.
I like that.
I would like for maybe one of the reviews to tell you daily,
Yeah.
and I know that we can set this up.
Yeah.
I would like for a review to tell me daily that these people have submitted an application. Pick up the phone, introduce yourself, and let them know I'm here to help if you need anything.
I love
So that
that.
we can establish.
Rapport. Yes. We're supporting them. We care, right? So you have that.
You start reporting them earlier, because if you have that information, then you can go ahead and say, hey, guess what, I'd love for you to come visit, if you have moved yet,
Yeah.
or anything.
This is one of the great things about Radius. As you see, everything that's happening, you're going to know as soon as it's happening, as long as we have views built. So not even just on submission, but when they start the app, they already have an application record. I can have a view that says app created date within the last week. So I'll be able to see all of my students whose apps were created this last week. And then that's that push, right? Maybe if they started their app and they've been not doing anything for 14 days, I'm like, hey, see, you started this a couple of weeks ago. Just want to know if you have any questions. Can I help you, right? So that's that. We're building. I'm here. It's me. I love you. Yeah. Set up an appointment to bring them to the campus. I'll help you fill it out here, tours, etc. Then, of course, once they submit it, now we're looking at, do we have all your stuff, right? There are things that obviously the student can't submit, like their test scores. Those are official, so you can't do anything about that student, but you can, hey, have you had a resume done? And this is obviously for grad, but whatever requirements undergrad has in terms of those things. Obviously, they're not going to have recommenders, so you don't have to wait on those. But what are requirements for undergrad? Official or unofficial?
Official.
So student can't turn those in either.
Correct.
Awesome. So, hey, have you submitted to your school to get those mailed to us? Boom, boom, boom. Is there any other process that you guys offer to get? Okay. Is that automatic when the requirement is created that you guys kind of reach out to get that, or they have to initiate that process?
It depends what the school uses.
Gotcha.
Still old school,
Okay, so then there's an opportunity for you to reach out and be like, hey, we're waiting on your official. You need to let your school know so they can send that to us, and then check your self-service center. We'll let you know when we have it. Holler, right? That's exciting. What else? So in between time, because that's usually the part that a lot of schools don't really have a plan for, is getting them to submit. A lot of people start an app that don't finish. And what we want is to get more people finishing the app so we have a larger pool of people to admit, right? So we kind of get them through and support them. And I want to make sure you're thinking about that, because these are supportive views that you guys haven't had access to because your system didn't allow that, but this one does. Especially if you're getting transcripts kind of off the willy-nilly, right? I know some schools you just randomly get a transcript and you're like, the student hasn't even started an application yet. What am I going to do? Well, of course, we can put that, we can document that we still have that here. We can make it a contact attachment. And then we're like, oh, now the student has started an application. Or maybe we get that attachment, now we reach out to the student and say, hey, we got this. Do you want to start your application? Alton.
I guess, could we build this in to make an attachment? Because a lot of kids that are coming through are having dual enrollment classes, and they're not getting credit for those classes unless they send it from X community college. A lot of them think that they can send it just through the high school, so could we build that in as a requirement for undergraduate admission? Well, maybe not admission, I don't know how that would work, but you get what I'm
At the
saying?
time of evaluation, if it's seen, then they could add that requirement.
Yeah, you can add that. You can manually add it. I don't think you want to add it.
Not for the admission. No.
Yeah, for everybody, because it wouldn't apply to everyone. But you may add a field like, are you, I don't know if you have this on your app already, but are you dual enrollment with a school? And in that case, that would kind of be your trigger to go in and manually create that requirement. So let me show you how to do that. So I'm under the student's application, under their requirements tab. So this is me adding in that secondary one. I'll click here on new requirement. So everything now is blank, so I have to fill it out. So maybe this will be dual degree. This
is the process we talked about for felons or IHL, that when Julie will be reviewing the applications, if it's checked yes, then she'll go in and add two requirements. One is for the document to be received back, and the second one will be for the committee review, so it won't be processed until those two items are met. If that makes sense.
Now, it's important to note for that dual enrollment one, you're not going to be able to choose any of the transcript ones, the unofficial or official transcript ones, because those automatically populate from a school. So unless they put that school in on the app, it's not going to make it a transcript requirement, but you can create any one of these and then, of course, let them know what they need to do. So I'll make this one a general one. We'll call it dual degree. And in the description, I will put, please have college mail official transcripts. Scripts. That look normal. Cool, not received, general, boom. Once I save that, I'll automatically update my requirements. Now I was at 100, takes me back down because now I'm missing one. And the student will also see that new requirement added as not received, the description that I put in that lets them know what we need to do. Does that make sense? And so same thing for, like Becky was saying, for the felons, we would add that in there saying, hey, you need to submit your appeal or whatever that process looks like. Then that would adjust their requirements where they could either upload their appeals letter. If you want them to be able to do that, make it an upload requirement so that they can add that in there. Okay. No problem. So then, let's just say that Brandy Savage-Lead is super awesome, obviously, and we want her at Southern Miss to be a Golden Eagle. Caw-caw.
Can you query if the requirement status is above a certain percentage?
You sure can.
Okay, just to make sure.
And we're going to go into building of the views here after we go through all this. Decision. So decision is a record type. So you have to go into each individual and create that record. Okay. So here I am under Brandy's application. Decision here. I'm going to click on new decision there. So first, the decision status. This is what we dictated in the iteration. So this is what it's available for this master's in anthropology. This will probably differ, obviously, from grad to undergrad, et cetera, based on all of that stuff. So I'm going to say, yeah, she's good. Enrollment form, you guys, again, automatically in your iterations assign that. So you don't have to do a whole lot of anything. Let's see. Also, the decision letter. So really all you're doing at this point is making is putting in the status and deciding when to publish this. So publishing puts it onto their self-service center. So if you're not ready for it, no big deal. You can say not publish, and it just sits. So like, I don't know what are you reviewing and letting them know as soon as you're getting them in? Perfect. So then you're just going to publish it, as you know. So we're publishing it. Whoomp, whoomp. That's all you need to do at this point. Hit save. Now the student will be able to come in. You would send them a communication that says, hey, your decision is ready. Please log into your self-service center to view it. They'll come in. Boom. There's their decision. Now, because there is a letter attached to it, it's hyperlinked. So the student clicks it. There it is. And it's like, hey, girl. Yeah. Woot. Admitted. And then you're telling me what to do to accept my enrollment. Karen. Yay. Is Karen here? Do I know Karen? Have I met Karen?
No, she's dean of graduate school.
Well, fine, be that way. And so the student, and you guys are using the enrollment portal, right? So it says log in to your portal, but do they know that they're already in the portal?
They will. I mean, yes, they have, I mean, this is their.
This is the acceptance letter?
Yeah, they've already gotten emails about that stuff, I mean, before. I mean, there'll be or there should be. Like I said, our email, we have a different person that does our comp plan, so I don't know where they are in the process right now.
Okay, just make sure you kind of update that verbiage for this decision letter here because they're already logged in. It tells me to log in, and I'm like, oh, do I have to go somewhere else?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
When in truth, I just need,
I
you need to
see
say,
another mistake on there.
yeah, so in truth, we should just be clicking on the enroll button here at the top for the student to say yay or nay. This is your enrollment form that may need some zhuzhing. Again, it populates everything from my contact record, so all I'm telling you is yes, I'm coming or no, I'm not. So you'll see if depending on what I've chosen, you're like, all right, bye. Or deferred, like you need to let us know when. Or yay, yay, we're so excited. Woo. So I'm accepting. That's it. That's the end of the student really in here. They can also print this decision letter, so if you're, obviously it takes a few days for a paper letter to come, but if they need it for like a third-party scholarship or something like that, they just want to put it on the fridge, like, Mom, I made it into college. They can print that and have it accessible. So, relatively easy. There's not a whole lot, right? We're waiting for the student to bring in a lot. Recording the requirements is not difficult at all. Then we just make our decision, and the student takes care of the rest, and now they're moving on to whatever that enrollment process is, getting registered, meeting with their other people, etc. What questions about handling an individual app do you have? Okay, I love it. All right, so let's talk about now how do we get to these individual apps. So same thing, conversation we had early yesterday, which is how do we find all of these people? How do we know what to look for? So Landon started off good. I would love to have a view that finds all of my recently submitted applications. So why don't you come up here? I know, right? Hot seat. I know, and come on down. Yay. So I believe in muscle memory, so the more you do, the more you learn, right? So let's build an application view. So yeah, so I'm gonna chillax over here. And I want you to, I'm not gonna guide you, I wanna see where your brain goes.
Okay.
All right, so you're going to create, that's good.
Careful, you're logged in under me, so.
Well, it's all recorded that it's landed now, right? All right, so first off, what are the criteria? What are we thinking about for these applications?
We want dynamic because it's going to continuously change.
Love it.
I mean applications because it'll be applications.
Well, we're in that module, so you're good.
Most freshman students are going to want degree seeking.
Okay, so back it up a little bit. So what applicants are you
looking
looking
at?
at?
That's just like where it starts from, Landon. You don't have, that's just
Yeah,
like the,
that's default.
that's the
Yeah,
default
don't worry about that.
field. So you don't have to start with degree seeking.
Yeah.
Like you,
Just that's what I was just saying. Like
Do we have the dry erase
most
markers
students
in
are
here?
going to want that.
No markers?
So I would think.
Look in the cabinet.
Excuse me.
Applications have used this.
It's all electronic. Sorry, I was looking for some stuff. So tell me this, what applicants are we looking for specifically?
Right. So we would go admit type.
Admit type?
Application. Okay. There's going to be several things.
There will be several
Kinda
things.
starting at the beginning.
Do you have to put contact in there?
I mean, we can do.
I want a marker! Give me a marker!
Submitted days.
So what are you trying to find? What people are you trying to find right now?
Here?
I mean, just say if we wanted to do people that have been admitted within the past week.
Admitted.
I mean, not admitted, submitted applications.
Submitted application 7 days. Okay.
So applications Gotcha.
Okay, so that would be.
Change your comparator.
If you do the settings wheel, like, and you click 7 days, it'll automatically change it every single day.
Yes, yes, hold on.
So
Last week.
Last week?
I would do last 7
Yeah,
days.
same thing.
That way every 7 days.
All right.
Look at that. Look at that. Learning! That's JR. JR's like, I know stuff. Hey.
Replace me with video games.
They have one world company every once in a while.
What else would we want in there besides that, Jeff?
I mean, like, I would want students that are only from
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, does anybody notice a glaring mistake that he's making?
He didn't put contact. He didn't put contact.
Why would he need to put contact?
See their name?
well,
No, we don't need names.
the name's already, the name's gonna show
The names are
up.
going to show up.
This is how you're figuring out which names you want to show up, what kinds of students you want.
What kinds of students we want? What kinds of applicants
So we need
do we want?
undergraduate.
Undergrad.
Boom!
Because we're all
Because right now you're showing every applicant from all
That's the first thing I was trying to do, and everybody yelled.
Well, not degree type. So here's the key, guys. Do you guys have a field hidden on the app that says admit type is that?
Well, admit type is one,
No.
but there's a career.
ACAD career.
Oh, ACAD career, not
For academic.
the other
Scroll
one.
it up. Go up.
It may be is it on the,
Is it under module?
is it on the iteration?
No, it's in the
Are you sure?
That's,
No, it's on the
I just
contact.
figured admin
But
type.
yeah, it might be fine.
Just look on the contact with module.
Yes, contact.
ACAD career. And
Um,
I'm gonna go ahead and holler at this, because really, we
Is
want-
that-
Yeah, remember, it reads top down, left to right, so
Okay.
biggest population, and then you break it down a bit. Thank you.
You gonna have
Oh,
Louisiana
this is-
next?
What is it? Career? ACAD career?
Yeah.
Where do we find anticipated entry time?
That is under
On contact.
iteration.
Or, oh, off the application, iteration.
Change it, what option do you have on the module?
No, right there, so where it says
Oh, well,
iteration,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
you're in the
yeah,
right place.
yeah.
Iteration name, then arrow down.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Should have clicked on.
Enter term.
It takes a little, give it a second, it's thinking. Or go back out, go back in, right? All right, expand.
Letting all that Amos out,
All right.
There it goes, Sarah, you just closed
Click
it.
it. One more time, click the arrow, good job, good job.
All right,
Scroll down. Midterm, territory.
change this to the last one. I don't know why they give it is, but
The term code?
now you're, well, either one is fine, but it should, they give you the.
It's because it's freaking out. Landon, go ahead and name this for me, whatever it is it's supposed to be. Save it and then go back in, because sometimes it freaks.
If I'm clear on the modules, all the modules, how come I'm only getting this?
We'll just find out.
Prevent this page from.
So,
Must select a
just,
value?
yeah, so just delete that
Last one.
row, that last row,
Ah.
because it's not working for you.
Yeah.
So that's just
it-
saying save it and go, and try it, and then you're not gonna get anybody, because you've got a lot of.
So I can't change the module.
See, I knew what I was looking for, which is on our phone.
See, I can figure out how to do it.
Load or? Oh, we're also under Chrome and not Internet Explorer.
No, Chrome is fine.
Chrome is fine?
Chrome is fine.
I want to see thing.
It's crappy.
Should I be careful with the reload?
All right, so drop down.
Not sure.
You broke it.
Thank you for.
Ban the access point.
Right. Give it a second. Give it a second. Okay, so while Landon's doing this, I'm writing up kind of some basics for what we should be including in our lines of logic for our app views. So submitted is good, right? But we're probably going to do some additional ones because again, we can now see them earlier in the process. So first, obviously, are we talking undergrad or grad? That's going to be your first line for all of these. And the great thing about the one that Landon's creating is again, we can clone this, right? and start to make the changes that we need. Next, you probably want some type of time of creation or submission. Submission, obviously, if we're looking for apps submitted in the last week, 30 days, day, whatever our preference is, but also the before time. So when did they create it and they haven't submitted it yet, right? So these people who are in progress that we feel like we need to push. Ideally, I think of how long does it really take, and you may not have this information offhand, but how long does it take for a student to start an application at the point of submission? And this varies per group, right? Huh?
I'm sorry, say it again.
So it usually varies per group, so undergrad, graduate, but if a student starts the app, how long does it generally take for them to actually submit the form? You may not have this data on hand. So generally, it's not going to be the same day, just giving you a heads up. But you guys kind of start thinking about, kind of how long do we allow them to kind of sit on this before we feel like we need to give them a personal nudge, right? Is that a week? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 30 days, right? Or we should probably have multiple views, right? So some for like, hey, at the 2-week mark, hey, you haven't submitted this yet. Want to know what's going on? Hey, it's been a month. Clock's a ticking. Times are changing. Are you really interested or not? Because we can get this app out of our pool in general. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
No, I love the question.
Can you see the last day that they logged? Can you query out the last day that they logged into the application?
There is a field that lets you know the last time they logged into the self-service center.
Self-service center.
Yes, you can add that in there as well.
So if it's been more than a week since they logged in.
You can add that too, yeah. It's like, hey, you're hanging out, what's going on? Obviously, I feel like you're having some trouble, so let me help you, right? Obviously, again, territory. So for grad, undergrad, who are the students I actually care about because, I don't want to see everybody. That's not who I'm actually servicing. Entry term and program is going to be very specific for grad specifically. You're going to want to make sure that if you specialize, in business school or arts and letters or whatever, you actually address that. And that's usually going to be your iteration name or potentially your program. So I'll add that in there. Say program. Grad, it's not going to matter undergrad, it's not going to matter for you because it's just undergraduate stuff.
I'm sorry, Brady, is there a limit to the number of rows you can have in your views?
No. You can
I was
go.
just wondering if there was a.
You can go ham and cheese. And in this one, in the view builder, in the target builder, you can go all types of crazy. The back end one, so like the conditional logic things, there's like 30 lines. Okay. Next, application status, right? So we saw as the app moves through certain things, it'll be like app started, app in progress, ready for review, decision made, or whatever those varieties of statuses are there. So not only do we know when they're submitted, but we also know when they're ready for review. Because just because they submitted the form doesn't mean we have everything we need to start that app process. So that's another view that we're going to need, and the student ideally is going to move through all of these views when we're ready. What else do we think we need to add to these variables, to kind of make our app flow? Are you guys all responsible for making the decisions for your students?
No.
Who is?
Graduate
Processing.
faculty makes the decisions. That's why we use it.
Undergraduate, there's
Well,
a
yeah.
whole different group of people that'll be here this afternoon.
Okay.
When I separated
And so when they make the decision, are they publishing the decision? I know the faculty aren't because they're just using app review. So grad,
They would typically be posting the decision, I imagine, to the self-service at least.
But we might be
the
doing-
faculty members are?
No,
These are
our
our
processing.
The processors, okay.
We have
But
a
for
whole
undergrad, we
process
might
after the
be
faculty enters their decision.
Gotcha.
doing decisions for the fall, right?
You might be helping here.
Can y'all think of anything else, like when we pull, just think of like a full query if we go for data clean.
I think what's hard is you're one whole state, not everybody in this room is one whole state.
You can do like
We are, we are
Add the-
building
add the
territories
counties, yeah.
that will be there. You have a lot of ability-based queries that you run. We have some significant challenges in terms of being able to isolate the highest ACT or SAT file. And as I understand our options better, I will talk that out with y'all. But the views that I sort of see you guys wanting to monitor are maybe by your top feeder schools in your territory, if you're getting ready to go visit high school or something like that, to be able to display the people you have in the funnel from those high schools, how many inquiries you have right now, those sorts of things.
Go to education for the school.
Wait, where at?
Education.
Here?
You could have your a list of your legacies in front of you. I mean, there are a couple of different ways that I envision your dashboard.
But Susan, so there will be something that says like, so I can like pick like Mississippi Jackson, I won't have to like pick.
Correct.
Like, Carter and Madison.
So you're not gonna have any on that list that you just created, Landon, because there's
no way. There are no people, but
Yeah.
But at least I know where to add all this stuff now.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think there's one Louisiana app in there right now, and it might not even be.
it's probably not for fall 2017.
I was gonna say, change your term to spring 2016.
That's right.
Care about because the education is not technically connected to the application record. So you're not gonna be able to pull that. You have to pull that as a contact.
Landon, try playing with your term, we don't have any fall iterations in there, try changing your term to spring 2017 and see if that pulls your person.
I think I put that person as a transfer anyway.
So then it keeps this one.
Yeah, because I mean, this is
But he chose-
legitimately
he
what
selected
we would be
type as
pulling
well.
for.
So again, you can add in things, and of course we can add in those columns. So I think it was Jared, you asked about no, it was Brian. About the requirement status bar.
He's
I would
created
include that here as my view.
It is just for Landon,
Yeah.
Right.
which is all he cares. Yeah.
I mean, all you gotta do is.
I don't mean that, Landon, I meant.
All you gotta do is
I
change
meant
the
the
state.
goal.
Yeah.
You also
Plus,
So yeah, the things that every counselor would just need to do their own territory for that, but that's you of course need to rename that because that's a terrible naming convention.
Go to changes from file 2018.
Remember, what do we start all stuff with? What's our naming convention? Our first two letters are UG for undergrad,
GR,
Graduate,
IG.
IN. IN for international, so obviously none of y'all are international. But does this process make sense to you guys? Right? So we have to think kind of bigger scale of what do I want to find? Because again, I can build that list or lists based on what I care about. I don't have to see everybody's everything. What fields do I want displayed? So for applications, as I'm quickly looking at this list of, who's ready to move to that app processing team, who do I need to call, what do I need to say to them, what fields do I want to put on there, right? And then, of course, and then app processing, which will be in here a bit later, we'll then talk specifically to them about what do they need.
Refresh your view when you go back.
Is there a separate naming for online?
ON underscore.
Okay.
And they,
Only people aren't yelling.
but I haven't yet.
Until-
We're gonna have some discussion about market segments we are gonna utilize, market segments that we have a way
I changed that one to
to
18.
capture large groups.
It's fine. I just want to have it graded on.
What you need to keep in
I
mind.
I just want stuff.
Yeah.
No, good. Give you something to work with. I love it.
That, when like Mark or somebody, when they create a list view, it's gonna be called ON underscore. Even if you're looking for some reason from an online student, you would still use UG, because there's gonna be overlap, but it's about who created the view, or who created the piece, within our.
Yeah, just so we know, because, I mean,
Question I have.
the calls for online students. so-
Is there any way to change this default?
Yeah.
Because every time we go back to contacts, it defaults to
Which one do
AV.
you want? Well, this is Rebecca, but
Right.
whatever view you want, you go to that view and then you go to edit.
You're moving my furniture,
There we
Landon.
go. No, I didn't do
We didn't
that.
know it.
Everybody keeps going back to AV.
Yeah, because that's the very first
That's why you
alphabetically.
couldn't find your application earlier from the application. When you were looking for it earlier, we couldn't find it.
You gotta set the default.
I mean, I found it.
Yeah, but when you couldn't find it at first, it was because I think everyone was on the AV view as a default.
Why would that make a difference?
Because
if
it
you
was,
open contacts, you
because
can
it
be able
was,
to.
No, so this
because
search
it
bar
was
only works for
filtering out all those
Mississippi.
people.
And so everybody else didn't have those same criteria that we
But I could find the contact, I'm saying when you open contacts and you
But
went
it
to
was,
applications on the tab.
the default view for contacts, on mine, when I just opened, when I was pulled mine open again, it was set as Amy.
You guys are having two different conversations.
Yeah,
No, but I'm talking about earlier today,
Oh, okay.
when you were first having trouble.
but what I'm saying is, I found the record, I'm saying we didn't have access to view applications under contacts. We had to go to programs, then applications, then you could view the application.
I'm not sure.
I'm just saying there's no reason, even when I went to her, Randy Savage, I couldn't view the application like under contact.
So,
Same problem, we had the same problem.
additional questions do you guys, and this is good, I want you all to have this conversation because this is an important time, but are there any other questions that you guys have? Because the remainder of this time, we're gonna be building out views for all of this stuff. Everybody is now gonna go into view building mode for everything that you do, and we're gonna go around and start building out some things. These don't have to be super polished stuff. You guys, so we're building views until it's time for lunch. That's our goal for the rest of the morning while you have me here. So we're going to start thinking about our jobs, and we're talking from prospect all the way up until we finish that application. What views do you need individually, grad, undergrad, international? What do I want to see? What pieces of information? How do I ideally want to move this through? And that's going to be our stuff. So I'm going to be going around helping you out, and you're going to be helping each other. So obviously you have a G over here with Landon. He knows what he's doing. And JR. Yay, team. So that's what we're going to be working on. So, of course, ask questions, but I want you guys to feel comfortable while I'm here, at least navigating through this, playing around. And this is where the majority of the work is happening. Once your views are built and they're pretty good, then it's just managing your items, right? But this is the hard work part of what do I need to see. Are we good with that, Miranda? Will it? These won't. No, these are your stuff. This is you. What, I mean, the individual stuff could change, but again, we want a base of, so you don't have to start from scratch all over. So remember your naming conventions. Remember everything for undergrad starts with UG. Everything for grad starts with GR. International IN, online ON, and then whatever you want to name it after that. Of course, you can always change those, but this is what we're doing for the next 30, 40 minutes. Good times. Okay.